So this was back in 2012 or 13, I think the process started. So as you know, my job started after the contract started, so I wasn't on part of staff at that time. But as part of, the continued growth strategy of the university and the sort of changing funding environment for public institutions, the university was looking at privatizing dining, which means bringing in a national partner to take over those services. And it's a pretty lengthy and involved contract process where a lot of negotiation happens between what will meal plans be, how is the staff transition going to look, what other goals do we have? There's profit sharing that happens. There's meal plan pricing agreements that happen. Stadium concessions are controlled in that. And through that process, there was a lot of engagement from on-campus stakeholders. So some student groups were really organized and engaged. There was a group of faculty and staff that were really organized, engaged in saying, how will dining continue to serve the academic and land grant mission of the university? And also off-campus groups, farm organizations, interested citizens, and wanting to see UK as a public institution serving the public good, to respond to those questions and to integrate it into the dining contract.
Food at the University of Kentucky has gotten very expensive. 43% of students are food insecure at the University of Kentucky, and I think that a lot of people find that surprising because you wouldn't expect students who can afford to go to college to be food insecure.
I know it's a big conversation, national conversation, and it's a big issue that requires a lot of different people to weigh in on the solution.
What I think UK or UK dining should do, they should all come together as a whole. They need to talk about the issues that are going on with UK dining. They need to talk about how students are going on a hunger strike because they can't afford it. They need to propose a new solution.
I don't know what the solution is exactly.
Like, all humans have the right to live and have the right to eat food that is healthy and culturally relevant, have a stable place to stay at night.
The whole process started several years ago when students started doing research on food insecurity on campus. I think in around 2014 it was recognized as a real issue.
We created the survey based on previous surveys that had been done at other universities. We used those as models. We knew there were questions from the USDA that we wanted to have in there. And, over the course of, I'd say, the summer of 17, we sort of pulled the survey together and got it ready to go in the fall of 17. Demographics of our surveyed population matched the demographics of UK for fall of 17, which lends itself to some of the sort of reliability of the results that we got. We found out that of the students we surveyed, around 43% reported having food insecurity or very low food insecurity.
That the administration did not want us to publicize or publish those statistics and the findings of the research. They even asked that the UK faculty and staff who conducted the research to cancel their public presentations because they didn't want these numbers going out. So after fighting with the administration on that for 2 semesters, the number finally went public. And when those numbers went public, we decided to launch the Basic Needs campaign. And we used recommendations straight from the survey report and research results to find the 3 demands that we thought were the most necessary to sustainably and institutionally solve the food and housing crisis that we're seeing among students.
We were able to do some sort of connections between students who report being food insecure or very low food insecure had health issues, right? Most of them were working, mental health issues, trouble doing well in classes, stress, anxiety, so all the things that probably wouldn't surprise you if you think about someone who's struggling day to day to figure out where's my next meal coming from. Do I buy a textbook? Or do I buy some food for this week? Right? That's the decision that we heard from students that they're trying to make. Probably not surprising also that those students struggle to stay here.
If you look in that basic needs report, there is something in there that says that the average meal plan, like the price of a meal at the University of Kentucky, is much, much more expensive than the high level, what the USDA considers the most expensive meal that a college student should be getting. Federal government says that a student should be spending is, I think, around $4. At the University of Kentucky, an average meal costs $6. So even the cheapest meal plan at the University of Kentucky is really too expensive by federal guidelines.
I personally have not eaten in like 43 hours. I decided to hunger strike with the group because we have 3 demands that the administration refuses to act on. And those 3 demands are to establish a physical basic needs center, the second one is to establish a fund, and the third one is to establish a full-time staff position to staff the center and give out the funds to food and housing insecure students. We actually have a proposal created. We have a 1-year plan that would only cost $100,000 for the center to start, and then we have a 3 to 5 year plan that would cost like $500,000 for the full thing to be up and running and helping students. So the Basic Needs Fund, which is our second demand, is essentially a fund that students who are facing are unable to buy food or are about to get kicked out of their homes, they can come to the staff person and access these funds and access the resources that they need. And right now, all there is the food pantry.
And regardless of the research, it doesn't matter what percentage of students are struggling. The fact of the matter is there are students that's struggling, and it's not the student's responsibility to fix that, it's the university itself to fix that. And that's kind of why we're here, because the issue's bigger than ourselves.
I mean, in an ideal world, nobody would be hungry, right? Not just here at UK.
It would be nice to just have a nice affordable meal plan that we can all use, so I won't be eating once a day because we're supposed to be eating 3 times a day, but I can't afford to eat 3 times a day because I can't afford a valuable meal plan.
To think that anyone is experiencing food insecurity, but for me, working for an institution and knowing, my livelihood comes from this institution and students directly support my livelihood. So what commitment and obligation do I have to in turn ensuring their well-being? And it's a challenging question to grapple with. And so when the question of is food insecurity happening on our campus, yes, it's happening on all campuses. What does that look like? What is the lived experience of that? Recognizing that our students come to campus, they don't leave their past and their histories and their lives behind them. Food insecurity in all of Kentucky, we have a long way to go as a state. We've got higher levels in food insecurity in our state than many other states. So, of course, that's showing up on our campus. Our students are from Kentucky. They reflect the state that we serve. I'm encouraged by the tenacity of our students to tackle this. I have hope for our campus leadership to engage in these questions and to take a look at how we can support student well-being, comprehensive well-being. I hadn't thought to think about it, and it's surprising, right? And it hits you in your heart and your gut.